Good morning, students. So, I've been looking over some of the math work that's been turned in, and I see some people are still struggling a bit with the scientific notation. So, I wanted to just kind of do a little bit of an update on that, and hopefully it'll help you out. So, what I want you to make sure that you're doing is some people didn't know when they were converting to scientific or to standard notation. And I know this is all new, so I understand completely. But what I want to go over today is that the top eight problems on page number 1 that say express each number in scientific notation, your answer will have to have a number that is between 1 and 10 multiplied by a power of 10. So let me do an example from that again and make sure you understand it. And I also don't want you to round it all on this. I see some people are rounding and cutting off some of the end numbers of the non-zero number. I don't want you to do that. So hopefully I can make this a little bit more clear. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So let's look at number 3. It says 266. So I've got number 3, 266. And I'm wanting to write it in scientific notation. This means I'm going to change it from 266 to a number that's between 1 and 10, and then have it multiplied by 10 to some exponent, okay? So the way I do that, the way I make sure it's between a number 1 and 10 is I look at where the decimal place currently is, which is right there, and I'm going to move it over right in front of the first non-zero digit, okay? 2 is not a 0. That's my first non-zero digit, so I'm putting the decimal right to the right of it, okay? 2.66, if you think about that, $2.66 is somewhere between $1 and $10, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this now with my decimal, 2.66 times 10 to a power, and the power, the exponent I'm going to put, is going to be the number of spaces I moved. In this case, I moved 1, 2, okay? There's 2 little spaces there. So 10 to the power of 2. So another one we can look at is, let's take a look at number 7. We'll have done most of these, so you should have at least 4 right answers on this when I'm done, because we did 2 yesterday's video and 2 today. So 1005. Well, 1005 is definitely not between 1 and 10. So I need to convert it to a number that's between 1 and 10. And to do that, I want to move the decimal, the invisible decimal at the end here, to a place that's right after the first non-zero number. Well, that's 1. 1.005, if you were going to put it on a number line, you would put that somewhere between 1 and 10 on the number line, okay? So 1.005 is now between 1 and 10, so I can rewrite it. And I have to multiply it by a power of 10, okay? And the power of 10 is going to be 1, 2, 3. I had to move it 3 spaces to get there. So all of your numbers on all of your answers on the top, 1 through 8, are going to have some number between 1 and 10, and you'll know it because the decimal is going to be right after the first non-zero digit. Then you're going to rewrite all of the essential numbers, okay? And that's all the numbers basically in the original problem, and multiply it by the power of 10, which would be the number of spaces you moved to move that decimal to the spot. So let's take a look. So that's what your top number should look like. It all should be some decimal number between 1 and 10 multiplied by a power of 10. The bottom numbers are going to not have any times power of 10 in it, and you're going to be moving the decimal based on what you're multiplying by, what power of 10 you're multiplying by. So if I looked at, I think I did number 9 and maybe number 11 yesterday, I can't remember. So let's just do number 12 right now. So number 12 on the bottom says 7.259. 7.259, let me do that real quick, times 10 to the 4th power. So I have to move my decimal now and convert this back to standard notation. So I'm taking away that multiplying by a power of 10, and I'm actually multiplying by the power of 10 to get rid of it, and then writing what my number would have looked originally before it was written in scientific notation. So I'm basically doing the opposite of what I did on 1 through 8. So I would go ahead and I would move the decimal. When you multiply by a power of a 10, you're just moving the decimal to the right. Okay? And I'm going to rewrite that so that you don't see that. It kind of looks funny there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now my decimal's at the end, which if you remember in the first 8 problems, when it was in standard notation, the decimal was usually at the end, okay? 7.259, and then I have to put a little 0 here now because I got a space. So I moved to that point all the way to the end. I had to add a 0 in that space. So my new number is 72,590, and I don't have to put the decimal on the end now, because if it's on the end, we don't have to worry about it, okay? So your answers on the bottom are not going to have some number times a power of 10. It'll just be a number like this. And it might have a decimal in it, because we did one yesterday that still had a decimal in the answer, and that was number 11. Let me do one more, and then I'm going to assign you another worksheet that will be due Monday. So you will have completed 2 worksheets this week, page 1 and 2. Same type of problems, standard and scientific notation. So let's look at number 14. Because the second worksheet is going to have some big numbers. So you're going to be adding some zeros in. So I want to make sure you understand that. This one is 6.5 times 10 to the 4th power, okay? Again, this is already in scientific notation. 6.5 is between a number 1 and 10. It's like kind of like $6.50. You know, that's between $1 and $10. And I'm multiplying that by a power of 10, and the power is raised to the 4th power here. So I'm going to rewrite this down here, and I'm going to have to move this over to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my decimal is going to be there now. And there's a bunch of little empty spaces here, and well, we can't have that. So I'm going to put my zeros in there. And so now I've moved my decimal to the end, filled in my zeros. I'm going to rewrite the number without, and remember I just put diagonals through my zeros so it doesn't look like O's in the alphabet. And my decimal's at the end, and since it's at the very end of the number, I don't have to write it. Then you can put your comma in, okay? And the new number is 65,000. All of your numbers on the bottom, all of your answers for 9 through 16 are just going to be a number like this, okay, something like this, and nothing, there will be not a times 10 to the whatever power in your answer, okay? So the top 8 will have a number between 1 and 10 times a power of 10, and the bottom will not have that. So do number 1 and 2, and if you have any questions, please email me or comment me through Google Classroom. And hope you're enjoying your day, even though it's really gray and yucky outside. Take care and stay safe.